Hey everybody, Erick Landon here again with another personal top 10. I say personal because as usual this is my personal opinion. Kind of redundant, huh? Well, I made a top 10 best action JRPGs, top 10 best strategy RPGs, so what's left? Top 10 turn-based RPGs. I should have started with that one because turn-based RPGs were the first JRPGs ever to be made in the history of gaming, but whatever, I left it to the end because I have no idea why. So, as usual, I have 10 wonderful games that are extremely good, I promise, I guarantee you that, but just remember, as usual, it's my personal opinion. So, I'm gonna start with number 10. It's a game I don't have. I don't have it because it's too damn expensive, because $200? No way, man. I don't have $200 for this game. I don't. So maybe someday I will have $200, or maybe I will have this game one day. I hope I will, because it's one of my top 10 favorite turn-based JRPGs of all time, and that is Suikoden 2. Yeah, you know I'm a big fan of the Suikoden series. You know I cherish this series with all my heart and soul and all that jazz, and this series means a lot to me because, ironically, I started playing this series with Suikoden Tactics for the PS2, which I really liked actually, and the next game that I played in the Suikoden series was actually Suikoden 2. Some people say it's one of the best JRPGs ever made. Okay, I agree with that statement, but it's not one of my first 3 favorites or 5 favorites. I think there are other better Suikoden games, but that's just me. I think it's a great game nonetheless. I'm a huge hardcore fan of Suikoden. It's my favorite JRPG series of all time. And I don't think it's necessary at all for me to recommend this game to you, because every single person on the planet, every single JRPG gamer on the planet will recommend this game to you because it's just too damn awesome. So on to my number 9. My number 9 is, I do have it. If you watch my video of the cheapest JRPGs that I own, you will find Lost Odyssey. So why is this game so cheap? Go and watch my video, you'll see why. And that's pretty ironic considering this is a masterpiece. This is one of the greatest JRPGs of the previous generation, and I really strongly recommend this game to you all, because it's not that hard, it's not that easy, it's a good challenge. It has one of the greatest stories ever written in the gaming history, and the characters, the music. This game was made by Hironobu Sakaguchi. If you don't know who that is, come on, you're in some serious shit if you don't know who that is. Nah, I'm just kidding. Hironobu Sakaguchi is the guy who created the Final Fantasy series. He also made The Last Story and Blue Dragon with his studio that's called Mistwalker, same studio that made this game. And the music is by Nobuo Uematsu, a co-worker of his, famous composer of the Final Fantasy games also. So play this game, I really recommend it. I don't think I have anything else to say about it because the game speaks for itself. If you watch reviews of it, if you read reviews of it, you will notice that it has great criticism, positive reviews, so play it. Definitely play it. Okay, so my number 8 is Shin Megami Tensei Persona 3. I wanted to show you this particular version because this one has 2 games. It has Persona 3, which is my number 8, and it also has a spin-off called Persona 3 The Answer, which is a direct sequel to the events of Persona 3. And the protagonist in this game is Aegis, you know, the android, famous android everybody loves, including me, and that's her story. And the gameplay is extremely similar, but without the dating system, the friendship system, and the school system. You spend the entire game locked in the. You spend the entire game inside the dorm, like locked up in the dorm, where the previous game was settled in. And but anyways, it's a great game nonetheless. But the real one, the real number 8 on this list is Persona 3, the classic everybody knows. I haven't played the PSP version, and I'm not interested at all because I've seen that it's sort of like a dungeon crawler in first person, and I just can't stand those kinds of games. I like a few dungeon crawlers, but I don't know, I prefer the PS2 version because to me it's extremely superior. I know in the PSP version you can play as a girl, but whatever. I'm kind of curious because of that, actually, I must confess. But I like the PS2 version. Maybe one day I'll play the PSP version. Number 7, it's a masterpiece. It's the greatest story ever written in a video game. It's not the greatest turn-based JRPG, but it's still great nonetheless, and that is the legendary Xenogears. I love this game, but if you watch my Rage Quit video, you will see that I put this game on it, because even though it's so goddamn good, the music and the story are like top-notch. The rest, the gameplay, the battle system and everything else, it's a little tedious. So I think this game is a masterpiece, but it has its own flaws. They don't ruin the game, they don't ruin the experience, but I haven't touched this game in like 12 years, I think 10 to 12 years, and I don't plan on playing it ever again because it's one of those games that it's so frustrating and hard to beat, but you know, at the same time, it's one of those games that just makes you keep playing them over and over again. Mainly because of the story, because it's just, my god, it's like the greatest story I ever seen in a video game in my life. Number 6 is another legendary game, also is one of the most expensive JRPGs for the PlayStation 1. So you will find this a little bit ironical because I don't have Suikoden 2, but I do have Valkyrie Profile. And that is one of my favorite JRPGs of all time, turn-based JRPGs of all time. I really love the story, I really love the characters, I really love the music. I love almost every single aspect of this game. You know, the only thing that I didn't like is that there are 2 endings, I think. You get a normal ending and a good ending. I think there are 3 endings, but I'm not sure. I have only gotten 2 endings, but there's no freaking way for you. There's no way. The game never tells you that. You need a walkthrough. Really, seriously, you need a walkthrough in order to get the good ending of this game, because there's just no way that you can know how to get the good ending of this game. And that's pretty unfair, but to me that's the only flaw I saw in this game. Despite that, you know, leaving that aside, it's a wonderful game and it's a masterpiece. Okay, so next, my number 5, my last 5. And well, like I said before, I'm a huge fan of Suikoden, and my number 5 had to be Suikoden 3. This is one of my favorites. I really love this game. The story, in my opinion, the story of this game is the best in the entire series. I know Suikoden 2 and Suikoden 5 have very strong stories, but I think this story is more original. It has a lot of unique aspects. I think Suikoden 2 and Suikoden 5 have a lot of cliches, but that's okay because they're still great, wonderful games. And the music, the battle system, come on, it's a Suikoden game. They have all the same mechanics, but they upgrade the battle systems, the duels, the war battles, and the turn-based battles to improve. Instead of upgrade, let's just say they improve with each game. And I really like the situation in this game, the battle system in this game overall, the 3 battle system within one. So give this game a chance. It's the only Suikoden in which you can play as 4 different characters, and there's a surprise. If you beat the game and you recruit all 108 stars or 108 characters, you get to play as the 5th character. Spoilers. Number 4, Suikoden 5. It's the last Suikoden on the list, I promise, it's the last. And I really love this game. It's the story, I prefer Suikoden 3, but by a little bit. But in everything else, I prefer Suikoden 5. I think it's the best Suikoden in the entire series. It's the longest. I don't think it's the hardest, but I think it's the most, not challenging, but I think it's one of those games that leaves you satisfied with certain boss battles, with certain war battles, with certain duels. I don't know why, but it's just this game made me so addicted to the series, and I really love it. The story is great. Everything in this game is great. Come on. There's a huge debate nowadays on whether it's the best Suikoden or not. I don't think anything will ever beat Suikoden 2, according to the majority of people. But in my opinion, my case, Suikoden 5 is the best in the entire series. It's a masterpiece. And sadly, this was the last canon Suikoden ever made. So I don't know what happened that after this the series died. They made Suikoden Tear Cries and Suikoden for the PSP that never came out of Japan. They just went downhill after this game. And I have no idea why, which it is considered to be one of the greatest JRPGs for the PS2 of all time. But, you know, gaming is also a business, and it's a complicated business. Okay, my last three. You know, over the course of years, the places on my list have changed. Not drastically, not dramatically, but have changed overall. Sometimes I like one game better than another one, and so on. But the first three on my list have never changed, at least not in the past 10 years. So my number three, it's a game that I'm very fond of, and that is Final Fantasy IX. This is not the first Final Fantasy that I played, but this is the first Final Fantasy that made me love the series. I played Final Fantasy VII and I liked it. I played Final Fantasy VIII and I liked it. But Final Fantasy IX, I just fell completely in love with it. I love everything about this game also. The music is astonishing. The music is outrageously beautiful. And the story of this game is just so, I don't know, it has a certain charm of it that I really like it. And this is the first game, not Final Fantasy and not JRPG, this is the first game that I played in which you get to play the story through different points of view. At the beginning of the game, during the first 2 discs of this game, you play as almost every single protagonist, and you are those characters, and you go around towns and dungeons with these characters, and I just found that so fascinating. You know, I am a writer, and I just love that. In some of my books, you get to read the story, for so to say, through many different characters' points of views, and I owe that influence to Final Fantasy IX. So mainly that's the reason, because that's the reason it's on my number 3. So my last 2. My number 2 is, I love this game. This is a tragedy. If you play this game, you already know that. If you beat the game, I mean. But it's still a wonderful game. I know you're going to crucify me for saying I think this is a better game than Valkyrie Profile 1. But I think Valkyrie Profile 2 is superior. That's just me, it's my opinion. I love this game because, I don't know, I have something for psychological drama. I have something for emotional drama. And in Valkyrie Profile 1, those parts of the story were not as strong as they are in this particular story. I think what really enamored me in this game is the fact that you play as one character. You play as 2 characters that live in the same body, and I don't know, I just found that so fascinating. It's just so fantastic to just imagine being you and having another person inside of you. And it's not the same as double personality. That's an illness. That is a serious illness, and that's just different. So imagine having a real person, like in a real soul or a conscience inside your body. I just love that part. And the music in this game is just so awesome. The gameplay, I really love the gameplay, but particularly I like the battle system, because I had a hard time getting used to it at first. When I first played it 10 years ago or 12 years ago, I don't remember, I abandoned the game. I hated it, but there was just something that was pulling me in towards it again and again. until I said, I just have to get over it. I have to like the battle system. So it's not like I forced myself to like the battle system, it's just that I gave it another chance and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with it. Once I finally got the gist of the battle system, I was like extremely addicted to it. I even played for hours and hours the special dungeon at the end. I think this is the game in which I have the most hours spent on in my entire life. I have like 100 and something hours put in this game. So now you can see why I really love this game. Okay, my number one. I think it's kind of obvious. If you're a fan of my channel, if you watch my previous videos, or if you know me personally, you know that my number one of all time, and also my favorite JRPG, my favorite game of all time is Chrono Cross. I love this game. So pardon me if I didn't put your beloved Chrono Trigger in this game. I love that game also, but I'm just not a fan of it. I'm not a hardcore fan. I consider it to be a masterpiece and whatever, but it's just not one of my 10 favorites. And I think Chrono Trigger. Yeah, kill me, hate me for saying this, but it's just my opinion. It's just how I feel. And I played Chrono Cross first, and later on I played Chrono Trigger, and I like Chrono Trigger, but no game in my life has ever made me feel what Chrono Cross made me feel. The music is so beautifully composed. It just goes extremely well. It is extremely passionate, the music, extremely emotional, and I love that. And the story of this game is just so way more charming than Final Fantasy IX and Valkyrie Profile 2. The situations in this game, the routes in this game, you can play as various routes. It has several endings. I love the characters. It has a huge variety of characters. I don't know, maybe it's because I think Chrono Cross is the reason I started playing JRPGs seriously. The first JRPG that I ever played in my life was Final Fantasy Legends 2 for the Game Boy. I was like 11 or 12 years old, I don't remember. It was a long time ago. I loved that game, and then I played Super Mario RPG, which should have been on this list. It probably is number 11 of my favorite turn-based RPGs of all time. And then I played Chrono Cross, and it changed my life. It really changed my life. I know I've said that in previous videos, but it's just a game that is so special to me. The story and the characters, the music, the gameplay, everything in this game is so special to me. So I love this game, and I just don't want to spend the rest of the video talking about it. Maybe someday I will make a review of it, but I'm just gonna praise the entire game for the entire video. Okay guys, so that's my video. These are my 10 games that I chose for the top 10. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. I am really curious about to know your favorite top 10, your favorite 10 JRPGs, turn-based, action, strategy, whatever. Just put them on the comment section. I always read those comments, don't worry. So that's just it. Share your opinion, share your top 10, and thanks for watching. Don't forget, my next video will be the same topic, top 10 turn-based JRPGs, but for portable consoles. So that's it for television consoles or TV consoles, whatever you wish to call them. That's it. Thank you for watching. See you next time.